Welcome back to Portside with the Pilots. We're now joined by University of Portland Director of Athletics, Scott Leykam. Thanks for joining us today, Scott. I appreciate it.
Nice to see you again, Jamie.
Good to see you too. Now, the University of Portland is coming off one of its most successful falls ever, Scott. For you, what were some of the highlights?
Finishing first in the Commissioner's Cup in the fall was a huge highlight. We knew we had had a good fall, but to see first place, I think, really validated that thought process. For us to have 3 Coaches of the Year, in Ian Soloff and Nick Carlin-Voigt and Brent Crouch, that was a huge validation for us as well. To have the men's soccer success, to win that men's soccer conference title was crucial for us. For women's cross country to make NCAAs for the first time, that was a great event for the student athletes and the coaching staff. To see that volleyball progression continue to come, and for me, this business is about personal relationships, and to see those volleyball student athletes go from 0-27 as freshmen to the top 3 in the league as seniors, that's why we're in the business.
And 2 of those WCC Coaches of the Year that you mentioned, Scott, were hired within the last few years. What is the process for hiring new coaches, and why have you been so successful with the recent coaching hires? Does your philosophy change also from sport to sport?
Jamie, I think it's all luck. I think you talk to any athletic director in the WCC or in the country, the first thing you have to look at is fit. And these small private institutions, it takes a certain kind of fit. You're really drilling down into references, who those people worked for, who they coached, who their relationships are, what the coaching tree is. Fit is first. The reality is if you have 10 finalists for a job, all 10 are going to know how to coach soccer or volleyball or basketball. It's that person you think that fits and can build something special on your campus.
You talk about smaller schools. Well, this day and age, with the NCAA providing more assistance towards student athlete welfare, how does that impact smaller athletic departments like UP with so many of the Big 5 schools able to spend so freely?
Any dollar counts. It really, really does. Even in this day and age of having a $16-17 million budget, any dollar counts. And I think 2 places, and it's a great question, Jamie. One is the NCAA is starting to pay out academic money here soon. So based on your program's academic success, there will be payouts and distributions from the NCAA based on that. For an institution like ours and a conference like ours, that will be a really big benefit. The other thing is the Student Athlete Opportunity Fund. I think that not many people know about. Everybody gets it. I think it's a higher impact for a school like ours that can help with career preparation, job interviews. You can buy a student athlete a suit for that first interview. If a student athlete has a family emergency, you can send them home. You can house the parents here. That's one of those things that the NCAA does that really has an impact on a big level.
I want to talk scheduling with you, Scott. What are some of the challenges that come along with scheduling, particularly with basketball, and what are some opportunities that lie ahead with UP, especially when we talk about that PK80 tournament next season?
Yeah, the PK80 is going to be a real breeze. There's nobody in that tournament. That was a great opportunity with our relationship with Nike and ESPN to play in a tournament that I think we can honestly probably say is the best ever assembled. It's hard to get 16 coaches to check the ego at the door and play that level of competition in November. So that's going to be something really special. My theory to start with basketball is you have to find that MTE, that multi-team event that gives you the best chance to play good teams on neutral floors. This year we went to the Wooden Legacy in Anaheim and obviously played UCLA and Dayton. I think those were good tests for us going into league play, playing the Gonzagas and the St. Mary's and the BYU. Next year will be PK80. The 2 on the horizon after that are the Great Alaska Shootout in Diamond Head in Hawaii that we're working through. But you really build from there. That's a chance of those 13 games. That's 3 or 4 good teams on a neutral court. From there, you do the best you can. You schedule a couple up, you schedule a couple down, and you schedule 4 or 5 that are probably 50-50 games. The reality for a school like ours is we're somewhere in the middle. We are dangerous enough with a player like Alec Wintering. It was a little hard to get somebody to pay us in a guarantee or play a high-level team this year because a mid-level WCC team can compete against the big boys. We've proven that. And also, some of the teams, the Big West, the Big Sky, those teams are asking for pretty good guarantees to play at an arena like ours. So we're somewhere in the middle. It's getting harder to find home-and-home games, but I think we do a pretty good job of balancing that. You know, the blessing for us this year was being able to play Colorado at home. It would have been nice to get a result there, but having them in our arena was great. And to be able to play Oregon State at the Moda Center and get a win there was a good opportunity for us.
Yeah, and to showcase around the bigger stage, I feel like at Moda Center, that was great.
It was, and the tie to Terry was not planned.
Yeah.
You know, we had not hired him when we looked at that, but it's a great opportunity. And for us, we should be playing in that building once or twice a year. Next year, we'll play there 3 times.
One challenge that recently came up, Scott, was the cancellation of the Gonzaga game on January 7th because of weather. What is the process behind that decision, and what are the plans for rescheduling that game?
The process is you don't want to cancel a game. I don't like that we postponed the game, but having to do it over again, we didn't have a choice. You have to listen to your city authorities. You have to listen to university authorities. When they're telling you they want people at home, they're telling you to keep people on the road, they're telling you there's risk to going outside and being in the community at that time. And that's not just a pregame decision. It's pregame, it's during the game, it's postgame. You know, players were here, officials were here, could have played, but based on everything we were getting from the weather folks and the city folks, they still thought even if we had played, we would be putting the players and officials in harm's way, getting them out of the building at the end of the night. We were in close touch with your friends and mine at the Moda Center, and when they made the decision, frankly, in a place where they have parking garages and more logistics than we do, we didn't have a choice from a logistics standpoint.
What are some areas that we have invested in to kind of set ourselves apart from other WCC schools?
I think the facility race is a big one. And as much as there's a lot of collegiality in the room with the WCC, we're all looking to sort of build better. I think where we're sitting now, having a dedicated practice facility for our basketball and volleyball programs has made a huge difference. Investing in our strength and conditioning program, we're about to add another full-time coach. That new facility, we're hearing from our coaches and student athletes that that's made a huge impact. Lastly, and we're really seeing the benefits, we finished a academic center up on the Child Center in the mezzanine, a dedicated tutoring academic resource center. We've added 2 academic counselors in the last 18 months. So I think for us, the impact we've made in the practice facility world, strength and conditioning, bigger, faster, stronger, and the academic space have all been big impacts for us.
And looking ahead, what do you see is on the horizon for the University of Portland athletics, and what do you think is going to make the biggest impact?
Well, I think there's 2 things. I think one, from a coaching standpoint, I think we've been fortunate enough, lucky, as I like to say it, to have hired some good coaches. The challenge in this business is you can't win. If you're not winning, you need to make a coaching change. If you are winning, then you're vilified if you don't keep those coaches. So we're working to get a plan in place to keep those coaches that are having success. We don't want to be a sort of a 2-3 year stop for coaches. We want to be somewhere that coaches feel that they can build a program, and we're putting a plan in place there. The next frontier, and gosh, we've talked about it since I've been here, is the river property. There are plans in place to potentially have a soccer practice facility on the river by next summer, as well as a new boathouse. Most of my time right now is logistics and working with architects. I'd say that's 50% of my job, and what the river looks like and how quickly we can execute that.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Scott.
Thank you, Jamie.
It.
Good to have you here.
And thank you guys for joining us on this episode of Portside with the Pilots. We'll see you next month.